Hello, hello, everybody. Good morning, afternoon, and evening. Welcome to my Go stream. Finally, Go, Weiqi or Baduk, depending on the name that you're most familiar with. Go is probably the most confusing name, simply because obviously Go is an extremely common word in English, so you know it can be hard to know what you're talking about sometimes if you're just like, hey, Go, you know what I mean? Where are we going? We are going on an adventure to learn how to play Go. Well, you guys are. I already know how to play Go, at least to a certain level of skill. I'm not like an expert or anything, but I am not a beginner either. So this is just Go. This is a Go client that recently came out for Steam and is pretty good. It has like a career mode. It has all of the modern AI stuff that you'd expect from a Go client, as well as good tutorials and whatnot. So I thought it might be cool if we went over a specific whatchamacallit. I thought it'd be cool if we went over the tutorial mode together. So let me see. Yeah, I played one game just to test out things out, and that is why I have 100% win ratio. It was just a quick game that I played real quick to test things, but it was against like a 10Q, so. And I'd say that if you're familiar with typical rating systems for Go and other stuff, I would be somewhere in the range of a single-digit Q. Not quite Don level yet, but I think if I learned and got better and played a lot more, that I could get to the Don level. Time to learn the Go meta. Oh man, the Go meta has been evolving throughout the centuries, really, the decades and the centuries, and I can't even really tell you about the trends of like modern Go, because I have my own style of play that's from the fact that I learned the game like 20 years ago plus, you know. But anyway, so here is just Go. So and here's the game that I played. So this has a bunch of information about some classic games, and it does have like voice stuff, so it'll tell you about that, as well as some pro matches of 9x9 Go. Oh, and I guess it also gives you some 13x13 and 19x19. Go can be played on a different size board. The typical size board is a 19x19 board, but you can play on a 13x13 or a 9x9 board, and it's a lot more different, a lot different and a lot shorter game at those sizes, but anyway, so yeah, there's that. There's the pro matches, my games. But let's go to the tutorial. Oh yeah, there is an online mode. It uses OGS to. It basically uses OGS like built in, but I don't know if there's an easy way for me to like simul play in this against like multiple people. I'd have to figure out how to set it up on maybe OGS and like. If I wanted to like play games against multiple people or something, you know. Also, the invite friends is kind of sucky because you can't like put in like IP address or anything. You just can invite people on your Steam list, which yeah. So I still need to kind of figure out exactly the logistics of how I play with other people. But for now, since we're going through the intro and people are mainly just following along, that we don't really have to worry about that right now. But anyway, so here is the tutorial. It is 6 parts and go over the complete basics. Well, the basics: capturing life and death, shapes, Fuseki, and endgame. Fuseki is like beginning formations. It's the way you start the game of Go, which has its own opening philosophies and strategies associated with it. So we'll find out about that when we get to that. Just go home in 3-3. But here, let me say welcome to people. I didn't get a chance to. But hey, Badman, welcome. Pacvim, hey, Hot Soup, welcome. The Internet Man, hey, JCDR, welcome. Muns, welcome. The music in this game is like, I like it, but it's also kind of like melancholy for me. It's not a bad or anything, but like, this is the sort of music that I just be kind of like having idle, sad thoughts to sometimes. About times past and, the encroaching, psychological horror game. Be prepared with your dictionaries because we're gonna have some words. I showed up in good time to start. Yes, you did. Welcome, Sweet Son. And yeah, you showed up just in time. We're about to start the basic tutorial. So there's a voiceover. So I'm going to let it talk for the voiceover, and then I'll comment. I'll add in commentary here and there. So, all right. So here's the basics.
Go, or Weiqi, is usually played between 2 players on a square wooden board, with players taking alternate turns to
See, this is a
place
9x9 board right here.
stones on the intersection points of the vertical and horizontal lines.
Not important you play on the
A player
intersections,
can win
not
the game
inside
by capturing
the
more territory
squares.
with their stones.
So that is ultimately, this is the board. It's either 9x9 13 or 19x19. You can play with other board sizes, but you don't typically see it. I don't know if you can actually play with different board sizes than those on this game.
The unoccupied points adjacent to a stone or a connected string of stones are called liberties.
Liberties are like
A
the
stone
basic.
must have at least 1 liberty to stay alive. Those stones with only a single liberty are considered to be in Atari.
So yeah, that's basically the first thing to get straight, is that an individual a connected string of stones is one group, or a single stone is one group, and the surrounding stones on the horizontals are liberties. So if all of these points are filled by the enemy, or yeah, basically if all these points are filled by the enemy, then this stone gets captured.
If 2 or more stones of the same color are adjacent to each other along board lines, they are deemed to be connected, and the string shares liberties. For example, black's chain here has 6 liberties, shown by the numbers on the right.
Yep, so 2 stones side by side, 6 liberties. Fairly straightforward. Of course, you can have a lot bigger groups than just 2 stones, but 2 stones is about the most basic group you can have, so.
Stones, or chains of stones, that lose their last liberties are captured and must be removed from the board. A player can capture the opponent's stones by occupying all their remaining liberties.
Yep,
Try to
basically.
capture the white stones on the board.
So, to capture the white stone, you play on the one remaining liberty of the white stone, so just clicking there. Same here. except this is to note that on the corner and the sides, you have to surround less sides because there are less overall liberties. Notice this white stone only has 1 liberty, and it's only surrounded by 1 stone because there's only 2 liberties on the corner here. So that will capture it. And then this is a little bit larger, and this also has 1 liberty. And notice this is a group of 2, but it only has 3 altogether, yeah. Alright, so here's another group of 3 stones that are all together. Notice this is the 1 remaining open spot, so we play there, and we can capture the stones. This one's a little bit different in the sense that there's other stones to confuse you, but the 1 stone that is in Atari is right here, so you just aim for that stone. This stone, can you guys see what's in Atari? Obviously not these stones, but these stones right here have only this open spot, so if you play there, then you capture. This is again another, kind of like the last situation, except there's another stone here. You can still play to capture, even though you only have 1 liberty remaining when you play it. See, and then you can also capture stones from like multiple sides. So like, see this spot right here takes away the liberties here and here, so you capture both of those sets. So like, and this one, remember, if you're confused about a Go problem, just remember to keep track of first like what color you are and what color the opponent, what is the objective you're trying to do. So we're trying to capture the white stones on the board, so these stones are not capturable. They need 2 more moves. This is all 1 big group, and so notice all of the spots around it are filled except for this spot right here. So if we fill that spot, then we capture. And yet again, here is the next spot for that capture, and that is basically the basic capture tutorial. Will there be a test? The whole thing is a test, yes.
A forbidden point is an empty intersection on the board, which, if occupied, would leave one of the player's own groups with no liberties, while failing to capture any opposing stones. A player is banned from playing on a forbidden point.
So yeah, notice there are certain spots on the board you cannot play on, and these are the illegal moves essentially. Putting a stone in a place where it has no liberties, like any of these X's locations. What do they call the forbidden points in Japanese? I don't know. I don't know the exact term of the Japanese term for a forbidden point. Just don't do it. I don't know the word because you don't talk about it enough. You just don't do it. There is probably a word for that specifically, but it's not like you refer to, I don't know. Not even a term said often. See, yeah, that's why there's no Japanese term for it that's commonly accepted. It's just forbidden point.
However, as shown to the right, if a player manages to capture the opposing stones and acquire liberties when occupying an empty point, the board play would be legal.
This is the important thing to note.
Capture the white stone on the board.
Because, yeah, otherwise this move would look illegal since there's no open spots, but since you capture stones, as you can see.
Ko
is another
players capture and recapture a single stone on
it's
turns,
one specific consequence of the rules
repetition.
of the game.
The rule of Ko prohibits immediate recapturing in a Ko fight. If black plays at 1 to capture the white stone, white would have to
Codes are
first play
complicated.
elsewhere before taking the recapturing move at 2.
But essentially, the game prevents repeated board states from happening, so there's no infinite change. Because as you can see right here, if black plays on point 1 and then white plays on the point immediately underneath 1, you can just go back and forth capturing infinitely, right? But thanks to the rules of Ko, yeah, you have to. I realize I'm basically reiterating the rules, but yeah, you can't. I opened my Go booklet and it says suicide is forbidden. You can't commit suicide to lose game. You can't. It is forbidden. That is one of the unknown rules of Go. All right, so that's the Ko rule. Ko's don't come up like every time. I mean, I think a lot, if not most games, will probably have at least one Ko, if not more. And there are ways to initiate Ko fights for strategic benefit, and Ko fights can often be one of the major things in a game of people fighting between, because essentially with a Ko fight, you're trading like points on the map, essentially.
A game of Go ends when one player resigns or loses by timeout, or when both players pass consecutively. The player who controls more intersection points or territories on the board wins.
So yeah, you don't actually play until all the stones or all the spots on the board are covered up, because Go is a territory-based game that goes according that you win due to having more territory than your opponent. Controlling more intersection points or territories. The rules between different versions of are different. They're slightly like different versions of Go, but they're not really. The scoring is mostly the same. It's not like Mahjong where you have like Weiqi Mahjong and you have like, you know, Chinese Mahjong and Korean Mahjong and other kinds of Mahjong. Like there's mainly like there's different rule sets to Go, like Chinese, Japanese, but it's mostly just like involving like little bits involving like specific aspects of the scoring. It's honestly like you won't notice. Like I probably wouldn't notice if someone like switched from like Japanese to Chinese scoring or something. You know, it's very subtle. You have to lose his honor, indeed. So yeah, that's the capture tutorial essentially. So this game is, well, I don't know. I don't know if I would call this game done per se. This game is definitely not done. This game right here, because there are moves that you could play that aren't dame, I think. But yeah, we'll ignore that. Anyway, exit this. Okay, so that's the capture tutorial, the basic tutorial. That's like all of the rules of Go essentially. So honestly, there's not that many like main rules of Go. It's honestly it's a very complicated game that arises from simple rules and a simple board and simple game situations. Go is also a game played by the highest echelons of Japanese society. Oh yeah, definitely. And across different cultures as well. So like, you know, Go has been played in China for thousands of years, and in other Asian countries as well. So anyway, capture tactics. Let's do the second one.
Capturing in Go is a lot of fun. However,
It is fun.
as you play more and more, you'll also notice that it can be quite difficult. Here are some easy techniques to help you capture stones more easily. Don't forget, though, that you can capture more stones than your opponent and still lose the game.
Important to keep in mind, if you're capture happy and you're not actually paying attention, you might still not win.
A double Atari describes the situation where a player threatens two groups at once and puts both of them in Atari. Wherever your opponent plays, you get to capture at least one of them.
Double Atari is a very
Counting liberties and have a look at the sample on the
it
right
happens in a
to
lot
get
of
a feel for
situations,
this
and it is very good for the player initiating the double Atari because there's no way for the opponent to avoid some kind of capture. There has to be some other way to prevent the opponent from capitalizing on it throughout the board state elsewhere. But see, as you can see here, this stone right here, yeah, puts both of these stones in Atari, and then you can choose to capture either. White could ignore both stones and just leave both of these stones to die. That might or might not be the best situation, depending on the surrounding circumstances. That's another thing about the game, about Go, is that it's very complicated, and like even stuff that's good locally is not necessarily good from a global perspective, because you have to keep in mind the rest of the board.
Find the double threat. Playing in the middle of two groups that are short on liberties is a good idea. Some problems need an extra step of thinking in order to achieve double Atari.
As you can see right here, this is kind of like a weird setup right here that you probably wouldn't see that often. So this one might take a little bit more effort for those of you following along. Can you see where the double Atari point is? It's right here. Playing on either of these points will not work because the white will play there and then have a fully alive group. We will go into the details of what makes a group alive or dead in a little bit after. I think that's the next tutorial. But so we play there and then capture. So this is actually see, there's a couple of different options, but you want to play there. So if we go there, and then that was a two-step process right there. We didn't have double Atari yet, but here, let's see.
Find the double threat. Playing in the middle of two groups that are short on liberties is a good idea.
Funny thing is, you can like, you can't,
in order to achieve double Atari.
you can't play there, but there's other plays. See, this is the one that's kind of weird, because you can't get double Atari immediately. By playing here, note that it puts this group in Atari, right? And these groups are like one away from Atari. So you can, this move still forces your opponent's hand, because if you play this here, your opponent has to play here, or else these stones are going to get captured by you, right? But by playing there and then your opponent playing here, that allows you to play the follow-up move there, which allows you to capture either of these.
As this shape shows, you don't always need a double threat to capture your opponent's group. With just some of your stones already in place like this, you can capture white very effectively. Imagine an arm stretched out, or a grappling hook. That is the shape you're looking at.
I don't actually remember ever learning anyone calling this specifically a grapple or something. I don't know. This is definitely like a technique, yeah, but or like this is definitely a way to capture stones, like as you can see right here. But like calling this specifically like a grapple, I don't know.
Atari to victory.
Atari to
Can
victory.
You push the opponent into your trap? It is important to recognize the shape and find the right first Atari.
So this one might take a bit for some people, as you can see. Let's see. There's that. So essentially, yeah, you're making, you're cutting off the opponent's point of escape, essentially, because even if they play there, then you can still play. So this one's a little bit different, right? There's no obvious place at first. This one's a two-step process. So the one group that you can put in Atari right now is this group of 4, and you can put them in Atari either by there or there. If you play here, you'll immediately get captured by your opponent playing there. So this is not a good place. Here, on the other hand, has 2 opening points. So you can play here, and then your opponent has to play here to save these stones. And then, as you notice, we have this formation here again, so you can play there and capture those stones. This one's interesting, cause this is almost like a ladder. So they play there, then yeah, this is essentially a ladder. Cause you basically cut off your opponent's route of escape, as you can see. This one is interesting. Let's see. This one was the trickiest of the group because it requires a little bit of This is the equivalent of getting command grabbed by Zangief 13 times in a row. This lady sounds like she's from an infomercial. She does, kind of. But it's a good, like, neutral voice. Let's see, what did I miss? Let me double check comments real quick. Classic here with our game of Rocks on Wood. Yes. You should tell people how Go pros are ranked, and there are Go problems ranked by player ability. I mean, Go pros are ranked going from, well, pro levels are like professional Dan. There's amateur Dan and Q ratings. And Q ratings are typically just for like amateurs and stuff. But yeah, there are Go problems of all levels of difficulty and such. So there are problems that for like the beginner Go player, or even like problems that, you know, even professionals would have a hard time knowing the correct answer to, or figuring it out necessarily. Might not have an easy time of it, at least, depending on, because yeah, this game gets very complicated very easily. When you start the game, you are 25Q. Oh, is that the start? I thought it was like 30Q. But I guess 30Q might be you don't even know the rules yet. Yeah, oh yeah, it counts from 25Q up to 1Q, and then 1 Dan to 9 Dan. So 1 Dan is higher than 1Q. 9Q is lower than 1 Dan. You know, 2 Dan is higher than 1Q. Just to give you an idea. Hey, welcome, Neffy. Welcome. Let's see. I think that's it. Okay.
A shut-in is a play that puts the stones into the shape of a door to prevent the opponent from escaping.
See, this is another term that I'm not really that familiar with. Shut-in or shunt.
Is the same as with the grapple. You lay out a trap and shut it.
Dan is a system used in many games in sport too. I've heard it in karate. Yeah, Dan ratings, you'll hear about it in other things like karate and the such.
Shut the door and trap the opponent's stones.
So this is not all too difficult. Essentially, what they're trying to get you to understand is that sometimes if you play in a spot, your opponent can't escape, in the sense that they play the one spot they can and they're still in Atari, so they basically wasted a move and then you can still capture them. So like playing here, for example. See? Or like here. Alright, can you see the formation? These are the stones with 2 liberties, so you just play there. Hopefully I'm not going too fast for people. So this one, this one's interesting because you kind of, if you play here, then your opponent can capture that stone, yeah. But you're essentially trapping these stones, because by playing here, your opponent has to capture, and then you can follow up by doing that. See? Anyway, next.
Another classic.
Okay, ladder is like the one that you'll hear a lot about. Like that's a
group in Atari into a zigzag pattern across the board. Shown on the
people don't usually play out ladders completely because it's more of a, if you see that you're gonna be stuck in a ladder, then you have to play around it, essentially. You don't actually play out the ladder, because playing out the ladder will just result in ultimately the inside group getting captured, and then black being in an extremely strong situation with a very nice group of stones right there that have a lot of open spots in between and is very easily alive. But yeah, ladder is like the first one you'll definitely hear like everywhere. There are a lot of like ladder go problems, and you'll encounter ladders like frequently because it's very easy to make them, essentially. As you can see here, all you really need is like these 2 stones and 1 stone here, and then yeah, that's how the ladder. See? Notice each time your opponent can try to escape and gain exactly 1 liberty, and then you can play a spot to make them reduce back to 1 liberty, and you can lead them to the corner, or lead them to the edge of the board where they will run out of space, and then you can play the final stone to capture. Only thing I know about this game is that NES AI cheats. I am not salty at all. It is not possible for the AI to cheat. The AI can just be better. I mean, like, AIs could cheat, but then that's not Go. Like, and there's no RNG whatsoever, so I don't know how, yeah. Anyway, what's next?
Zigzag away. Try to lead the
Zigzag
white
away.
stones to the edge. Can you recognize the shape? It is important to find the first two moves. And also, be aware of your own liberties.
Alright, so this is the ladder practice. As you can see, the two stones here we're essentially trying to capture in a ladder, and if we play there, as you can see, this one you have to be mindful of the direction. See, if you play here, then your opponent plays here, then this stone's in Atari, so you can't actually you can't actually ladder people going this way. You have to go this way. All right. This is a little interesting because the way it turns. So if you play here, and your opponent plays there, then it goes down, and you keep going down, and then here is you can play either. It doesn't matter. Kumiko, how did you discover Go? It might have been Hikaru no Go. I don't know if I heard about Go first and then watched Hikaru no Go, or got interested in Hikaru no Go and then that got me interested in Go. It's been so long at this point. Like I got interested and learned Go in like high school, I think. So in the early 2000s.
The net is a bit special, since it is not as straightforward as the previous methods. Look at the
Net
shape
is
of the
another
right
one
side.
that you'll hear
Neither blacks play on
a
the
lot
right,
about.
nor the top can prevent white from escaping. Where should you play to not let white run out?
Hold on a second. So there is a term, a Japanese term for ladder. I didn't actually know it because everyone in English just calls them ladders. So you can learn the Japanese terms or terms in other languages, but know that some of these terms are used in English, and like that's typically like people say ladder, but in Japanese you can say shicho. Shicho. And it has words in other languages that I don't know. Hey, welcome, Chorus. What's the second Go anime? Was there a second Go anime besides Hikaru no Go? I don't actually know. I can't think of any. Has there really not been another anime besides Hikaru no Go? There was one more. See, if you search for Go anime, you don't find stuff about Go. You find there's definitely other. Okay, British Go has like 5. New for 2021 is this new Japanese manga based on Parago, Gunbu no Parago. And there's cute. Watch out for this cartoon series that was first broadcast in China in 2006, set in the violent world of ancient China. Its title means Go Youngsters. Hoshizora no Karasu. Sorry, I got a little distracted here. There are other Go anime, but Hikaru no Go is like the Go anime. Like if someone's like, hey, did you watch the Go anime? Then they're probably talking about Hikaru no Go. A net is something you will hear. You will hear the Japanese term sometimes. Like I'm actually familiar with the Japanese term of net. It's geta. hold on. Let me just double check. Yeah, it is Geta. So yeah, net or Geta, and ladder or Shichol. But people typically just say ladders and nets or ladders and Getas. Hikaru no Go contributed a lot to Go's renewed interest in Japan, but that was many years ago. Yeah, Hikaru no Go was pretty popular and definitely, I think, resulted in a big boost to the Go Association over there. But yeah, that was a long time ago at this point, so I still think it's doing work. But I don't know. It might be time for a new Go story to take place. Anyway, let's get back to the tutorial. So this is a net. So okay, so it's playing on the wrong points. I was wondering. So right now this is playing on the wrong points to how they incorrectly tried to capture the opponent's stones. There is one spot you can play to guarantee capturing of this stone right here. It's not playing here or here though. I'll give you a hint. Wait a minute, I just thought of something. Wait, my cursor disappears sometimes. I don't know why it disappeared there. Anyway, the point is here.
The answer is to play in the middle. This is a net. Kind of obvious, right? White is
yeah, Sensei's library is like one of the best English languages resources.
If playing an Atari on either side would let the enemy's stones get away, then try to seal them in.
Good general rule of thumb. Let's see, net practices.
Throw your net and don't
throw
let the
your
white
net.
stones get away.
As you can see, I won't go through these too quickly. So this is a little bit bigger net right here, but the key point is this point right here. See? All right, so the net is right here. But I will show. The one thing about Go problems is that if you're not doing an automated one, like you have to be careful that you're playing the best move for the opponent too, because you can mess up Go problems because you didn't see like how the opponent was supposed to move, or I don't know, and mess it up a little bit. Oh wait. Alright, this requires, wait, actually, you have to play there, yeah. This one was a little bit less straightforward than the others, but here, I'll show,
Throw your net and don't let the white stones
let me go
get
back
away.
to it. Alright, and then... So this one's a little bit different. You can't play here because if your opponent plays there, you can't play there without immediately getting captured. So you have to start off by walling them off. And then at this point is where you, wait. Yeah. And then you play there. Anyway, let's see. What's the next technique?
Before we introduce the next capture technique, let's explain a new Go term. The tiger's mouth, or hanging connection, is one stone short of a diamond shape. It is so called because an attacking stone would be under Atari immediately if played in the mouth of the group, marked as one.
Yep, I don't know the Japanese term for tiger's mouth. You typically just call it tiger's mouth.
This one is another peculiar shape. A snapback is a single stone played deliberately in Atari at the tiger's
Snapback, there's a Japanese term for it. People typically just say snapback.
Remember, since there is no move repetition here, the Ko rule doesn't apply.
Utegaeshi. But yeah, the snapbacks are like, this is just one of the many techniques you can use to capture your opponent and trick them into letting their stones be open. Tsubame Gaeshi. It is not Swallow's Return. It is Utegaeshi.
Find the snapback.
So
shape
snapbacks
and
are interesting
sacrifice
because
one to
they
kill.
result in you losing getting your stone captured first. But the captured stone is necessary in order to capture the group. Because notice if I play here to like Atari this group down here, the opponent can just play there and then that's all connected. But if I play here, then the opponent can play there, but then that captures the stone, see? As you can see. So like here, if I play there, I think they want you to play there first and then do the snapback. Alright, we go here and then this is interesting because if we go well, wait. There's a couple options, but this is like the main one. So yeah, that is a snapback. Snapbacks can be hard to notice, and that is partially why they can be so effective, because your opponent can't really get out of it once you've caught them in a snapback. They have to play around it, essentially.
Connect and die refers to the situation where a group of stones under Atari still faces capture threats.
I forget what this is
despite
called in
connecting to
Japanese,
other
but I think there is a term for
The
it
threatened
in other
player
languages too.
usually has to give up a part of his stones to avoid greater losses.
So yeah, this shows you the problem of playing blindly or not thinking ahead, you know. There's no point to connect your stones if connecting them still keeps the group in Atari, because your opponent can still play on a spot to capture, right? Before or after.
Let the white stones connect and kill.
So like right here, so if I play there, they can connect there, but then this whole thing will be... So if I play here, so the... Okay, so the opponent plays there after you play there. This is obviously a wrong, incorrect move, but I mean, this is part of the Go problems typically won't have like a point where it's like, oh yeah, you can just play elsewhere because there's better points on the board. Don't worry about it. No, you have to solve the local problem. But like in an actual game, you might like look at this and be like, well, this might be worthwhile trade-off in exchange for what I'm doing elsewhere on the map. Unlike Akagi and Hikaru no Go, I could actually follow the amazing games that are going on between characters and see how amazing Sai was for being able to think so many moves ahead. At the same time, he was also playing a lot of teaching Go with people to school them. Yeah, Sai is really good. Well, it's not really spoilers, but yeah, Sai is very good at the game. I think he was like... In the series, he's like strong. He's as strong as like the strongest professionals in the series.
A throw-in is sacrificing a stone to prevent the enemy from connecting to friendly groups. Throw-ins are often tricky to spot, and it's not a good idea to just always throw in everywhere. However, with a bit of a trained eye, this might be the most powerful capturing technique you learn.
I don't know how they measure this is the most powerful capturing technique. That's kind of funny, the wording they put, but yeah, throw-ins can be pretty brutal when you figure out a good throw-in. Essentially, yeah, you're letting your stones get captured so your opponent fills in spots on the board and you lead them into a trap, essentially. As you can see this going right here. See, that first stone gets captured, but it results in making the overall space smaller for the opponent so that you can trap them elsewhere, see? Measured it using a scouter. See, I never knew any of these terms in English. Oh, really? I just knew that in specific formations. Have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Protagonist react to every move. One stone to rule them all.
Where can you sacrifice a stone? Try solving the problems on the board, and maybe you can find a throw-in during one of your games.
See, notice, like, it didn't actually take that long for us to learn the rules. Like, that was all done in, like, the first tutorial, right? But from this very simple rules of Go come a very, very complicated and complex game, which I am a particular fan of. So yeah, so here is some throw-in practice. Where can you sacrifice a stone? So notice if I play here, then yep, and then that happens, and then that. So yeah, it's the thing is that like you won't always know in a Go problem that the throw-in is what you're supposed to be doing, though. That's the thing too. Go problems will often just be like, you know, life or death, or kill this group, or something, you know. But then you'll have to figure out what technique is needed in that situation. And sometimes it might be a throw-in, sometimes it might be a ladder. I mean, there's any number of options. So this throw-in here, as you can see, this is an interesting throw-in because you actually get your stones captured twice. If you play here, then your opponent captures there, right? And then you play here, your opponent has to capture there again. Now you've caught them in a trap thanks to those 2 plays that you did. So now they have this group and this group, and now if you play there, then you have that connect and die formation essentially, right? They can't connect here without they had to connect out and sacrifice those stones. This one might take you guys a minute if you're following along. This one's a little tricky, I think. I'll give you guys a second if you want to try to figure it out. These problems they throw at you are some of the problems that weaker Q players do to practice. Yes. I feel this was always similar to practicing combos in a fighting game. I never see such uniform formation actual game. The players are actually better than that, as in the last problem that was shown. Yeah, sometimes Go problems can be set up a little artificially in the sense that it's not too likely you'll see that formation in a game, but yeah, I don't know if I'd compare it to practicing combos in a fighting game, because it's more I guess it is, but like there's no like bread and butters. Like I mean I guess those are the techniques, right? Like the ladder and whatnot, but like, well, I guess it is like fighting games. Anyway, back to this. So where do you sacrifice a stone? I'll give you a couple options, here or here. So if we play there, opponent captures via that, because if they don't capture there, then they get captured here, right? So they have to play this to capture this stone. Now, note if I play here, it'll be a connect and die setup again. So if I play that, then they connect here, and then I play that. Yeah. So yeah, that's the throw in practice. And that's all for the capture tactics. This tutorial is actually not a super short one. I mean, we're already an hour in, and we've just gone through the basics and capture tactics. So, but this is still not enough to kind of really have your legs while playing a game, because you still need to know about life and death. That's an important one. This is like the probably the biggest, the most important lesson after these two.
It is desirable to have groups which cannot be captured. However, we all know that at the end of the game, not every stone ends up alive. A big part of Go, therefore, involves determining the life and death status of your groups. Is it immortal? Can it be captured?
Yeah, the immortality of groups in Go is can be easily determined, and we will show you.
How can a group become immortal? The secret lies in the rules of Go. Remember that suicide moves usually are not allowed. In these examples, Black has surrounded a point that White is now not allowed to play anymore. However, not all of these would technically be called an eye.
Yeah, these three are eyes. This is technically not an eye yet, although it is basically an eye, but like if your opponent fills in these two spots, the opposite corners, then this would end up being a false eye.
To see why, look at these false eyes on the right. They are somewhat pretending to be eyes, but aren't actually. If white was able to control these surrounding points, black would have to fill that point in. In other words, if the surrounded space can potentially be captured, it is then called a false eye.
So if any of these stones were replaced by a black stone, then it would be a true eye. 'Cause yeah, there's no way to.
It is time to see the real eyes, where black will never have to fill in the point, no matter how white surrounds them. Here is a way to tell apart fake and real eyes. Starting from a diamond shape, black needs to control at least 3 out of the 4 corner points. On the edge, black needs to control both of the corner points.
Yep. So these are all real eyes. Notice an eye can be larger than one, even though the opponent can technically play there, but there's like no point essentially. Unless everything was surrounded except for these 2 stones, then yeah, playing on that point, you would play to capture.
Now let us answer the original
This is
question.
the important
In
thing.
order
So
for a group to become immortal, it needs at least 2 real eyes. At that point, under no circumstance will white ever be able to take these stones off the board. But why is 1 eye not enough?
yep. So this is essentially this is the whole thing of Go. Essentially, is fighting with your opponent to try to ensure the life of your groups and the death of your opponent. It's not a Go is not a game where you try to utterly crush the opponent. Like, in actuality, trying to go too far and crushing the opponent can bite you in the ass. You just have to have more points in the end than the opponent. But like, your opponent is still gonna have territory, you know? Like you shouldn't take it from the perspective of, oh, I need to win all the territory and take it all away from my opponent. 'Cause Go is a very it's a very give and take sort of game, you know? You play on one spot of the board instead of another spot of the board, and your opponent can play elsewhere, and you know, you take turns dividing the board up, and occasionally it will, well, more than occasionally, but your opponent will contest that, and then that's when, yeah, the game comes about.
With just 1 eye, eventually white will be able to evade the suicide rule.
This is why
and
1 eye
capture
is
the
not
whole
enough.
group. If there are 2 eyes, white would need to play both points at the same time to capture, which is impossible by the rules. Hence, the 2 eyes make a group alive. On the other hand, a group that cannot make 2 eyes anymore is called a dead group.
Yeah, like these formations right here in the end of the game, you don't even have to like play them out completely to capture. Like, if this is in a situation, then, well, assuming the white surrounding stones are definitely alive, but you can just kind of, both you and your opponent, ignore this zone and then just take the stones off and count it as white's territory in the end of the game. Let's see. Essentially, if anyone has any questions, please let me know.
Is by making a large territory,
Hopefully I'm not going too fast for
not by
people.
building eyes directly. When you have territory, you automatically gain very large eyes.
Very
Not
large
every
eyes.
group is simply alive or simply dead. Sometimes the status can be ambiguous, depending on who plays next. We will now learn some basic shapes that can help determine such situations.
All right, so yeah. Hikaru no Go made a big deal about how you hold the stones. Yeah, holding the stones correctly is kind of important. I mean, it's the difference between like people joke and are like, oh, this is so finicky the way Go players hold the stones. This makes such a big deal about it. But it's like that way in any other game too. Like there's an accepted way of playing or holding stones or whatnot. Like for example, imagine if you were, like I'm not even a chess player, and I know that people don't play chess by grabbing the pieces with their fist, you know, and like wrapping it around, like gripping around the piece like a fist. You know, you pick it up with your fingers. You don't pick it up with your whole hand and wrapping a fist around the piece and then moving it to the next, right? That would be seen as very like kind of barbaric, right? Even if you didn't know the rules of chess, it would look weird because you're just you know, unless you're playing anime chess. I don't even know if anime chess would help, but yeah, like there is a way to hold the ghost stones, but it's like it's kind of natural evolution of it, due to the shape of the stones and the considerations of putting it onto the board with a nice clack, because that is part of the important thing about playing the stones correctly, is that you get the nice satisfying clack sound when you place a stone on the board. I always felt it was like extending your pinky finger when drinking tea out of a nice tall cup. I wouldn't even say it's that, because it's more, because extending your pinky finger is kind of like a take it or leave it sort of thing. It doesn't ultimately affect the overall nature of the gesture, but when placing like ghost stones, like, I'll forever remember the Japanese onomatopoeia for putting the rocks on the board. Pachi or pachi. Yeah. But, like, the thing is that, yeah, there's, due to the way the stones are, like, there's really only, like, one major way to hold it, which is between your thumb and, or not thumb, between your index and middle finger. You put your index on the lower part, and I don't know how people do it left-handed, but you essentially grip the stone with your index underneath and your middle finger on the top of the stone, and then you place the stone by like putting it down and like planting it using your middle finger, essentially. That's essentially the technique of placing a ghost stone, like a physical ghost stone. You can always practice with the M&Ms, essentially, or anything that's like, you can practice with a coin even. I mean, anything that's that roughly a circular or disc shape, you know. But yeah, it's not that complicated. It's just kind of like a little thing that's just kind of you learn and then you just do it, and yeah, that way you don't look like a super noob. In Hikaru no Go, the way they show off Hikaru being a complete beginner at Go is by the way Hikaru plays the stones, very like using like index and thumb and just kind of like placing it like very childish way of placing stones, which you would not expect anyone playing that way to be remotely good at the game, let alone better than the best pros. Which is why Hikaru no Go, like, Hikaru no Go is interesting because it's like, it's supernatural, but like everyone knows that Hikaru is special, but there's no way to actually prove it because well, I mean, you know, but like the proof is in the fact that, like, you know, you can't just randomly beat the best Go players, you know. That requires intention, that requires deliberation. Like, in a million years, a million monkeys could not randomly beat somebody at Go. Like, maybe if, I mean, yeah, anyway, let's, Maybe if you had enough monkeys and enough time, but that's a different thing entirely. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted. Let's go to the next. Oh yeah, this goes over all of like the major big eye shapes.
And yet, black can actually turn this shape into 2 eyes. Can you find the vital point?
With no AI and no hidden earpiece, they just think he was an autistic savant. Essentially, yeah. The problem is that even an autistic savant would like would probably be able to explain it more, like how or why they're doing the things they're doing, but Hikaru couldn't even do that. Hikaru was just like, what? I'm just placing stones, you know? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, even if you take into account the fact that someone can be a savant, like, savant still is gonna have logic behind their actions, but Hikaru is just literally placing stones where a ghost tells him to place the stones. So yeah, it's an interesting anime. I actually don't think it would be as difficult as you make it sound. Just depends on the monkey. No, it would be. I don't think I think you're underestimating how difficult it would be. Well, okay, if you're including like humans, and depending on how you're using the term monkey, I suppose. But I don't think any non-humans can play Go. And if you could have a non-human like could play Go, if an animal could play Go, that's like more evidence of intelligence than like virtually like anything I could imagine, almost. Anyway, back to this. So where is the vital point? This one's pretty easy because it's symmetrical. Obviously, it's right there. So now this group has 2 eyes, and it is definitely alive.
Now we know that
this is important though.
this shape into a living group. But what happens when white takes that point first? The answer is black actually dies. No matter what black plays, they cannot create 2 eyes anymore. On the other hand, white can keep taking liberties.
I'm not gonna say that every animal could play Go, but perhaps another species could understand to the extent the average player could. Only with a level of intelligence that's not seen in animals. It's literally impossible. Trust me. As someone who studied like psychology, Go, and social sciences, and yeah, like entitled to not taking it seriously. Average, and it also depends on how you define average player. Like an average player, if you're talking like maybe like 15Q, like I don't think you'd be able to. Like I would eat my hat if an animal ever beat an actual like person that knew how to play Go. I do more than eat my hat. I'd like. Anyway. So yeah, this is essentially the takeaway here. Black can play here to definitely make this alive. White can play here to definitely make this dead.
We know that black can
Because black can no longer make the 2 eye formation. And life and death problems in Go are often a case of like play to make 2 eyes or stop your opponent from making 2 eyes.
no matter what. This situation is more
This is another
similar than it
situation where
looks.
there's a vital
It's
point.
not just one big eye. There is a vital point which allows black to create 2 eyes.
This one's pretty obvious because these 2 points don't do anything, but it is that point right there.
Similarly, when white plays at the center, This reduces the shape to only one eye again. Black can try anything, but to no avail. If white plays from inside, black can be captured eventually. For that reason, neither player needs to actually...
Yeah, this is an important thing to note. Like, life and death is not always played out. Like, two players can look at it and be like, oh, that group's dead. I give up on that group. Or, hey, and contesting, like, if you think your group is alive and your opponent thinks your group is dead, that's where you fight. On the board, of course, but...
This is the 4-space equivalent of the previous shapes. You may be able to guess the pattern by now. If black plays the vital point, the group becomes alive. If white plays the same point now, again, there is no way for black to still build 2 eyes inside. This is possible because white can reduce the shape to a bent 3 or straight 3, and then play the next move inside again.
Yeah, this is the important thing to note. Like for example, just because you can play inside your opponent's eyes doesn't necessarily mean you can capture the group. Like, it's also the fact that you can fill your opponent's eye space with a dead eye group, essentially. So the fact that, like, you see with this hat, essentially this hat-looking shape, if you play in the middle and then your opponent doesn't play anything, you can gradually fill up that eye shape until you have a bent 3, and then the next stone captures, right? So then black can go, oh, let me capture your 3 stones so that you cannot capture my group. So black captures the 3 stones, and then there's a bent 3 left, right? A open bent 3, but it's white's move. So white can play on that vital point and still kill the group. White would essentially have to mess up to not kill the group.
Let's change things up a bit. With this shape, black has 2 options to build 2 eyes out of this large one. In other words, black is already alive.
This is a good shape because black is alive regardless of whether white plays first or second.
Black is able to create 2 eyes.
Of course, if white plays and gets to play 2 moves in a row, white can kill this group. If white played on both of those middle points, but notice that's another case of white filling the eye space with a dead eye space group, essentially, because if you fill both middle points and adding sorry, that's just complicated. Let's just move on.
Again, with 4 spaces bent like this, black has 2 points to play to live. Black should simply play away now. Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, black could play 1 more move to make 2 eyes, but in this situation, since you're alive no matter what, you can play elsewhere, and then if your opponent plays like 1 of these moves, then you just play the other spot. A situation where if your opponent, or if you or your opponent plays in 1 spot and you're up, and then the other plays on the other spot, like basically like if this then this, those are called miai.
4 spaces can also be bent in this way, and the same principle applies. All these shapes are good to remember.
Yeah, these are good shapes to remember. They will come up.
Here is an example of how 4 spaces aren't always good to have. You may recognize that wherever black plays, it will end up in a bent 3 shape, with white getting to play the next move.
See, that's the thing, yeah.
This shape is dead as is. There is no way black can still save it. This really is just one big eye.
This is technically not true. Black could still save this, but would need a co-threat. That's the thing about co's, is is you essentially fight over the privilege to do 2 moves in succession on the board. So essentially, when you're fighting a ko, you're going back and forth looking for spots on the board that you'll go like, I'll play this spot. If you complete the ko, then I get to play a second time at that location, and then you'll lose out however you lost out. And then yeah, ko fighting is essentially like cost benefit analysis at its core, essentially. Glasses on. Oh shit, you're right. Oh, that's actually another thing. I'm getting glasses soon. I've been meaning to get like replacement glasses for a good while now, but I haven't gotten them, and I will be getting them at the end of the month. I'm actually getting 2 pairs, so that's a little side thing, but
Use the straight 3, pyramid 4, and bent 4 that you've learned to keep black alive or prevent white from doing so.
all right. So this is essentially life or death practice. So black to kill or white to live, essentially, in this group. Black can kill by playing there, or white can live by playing there. Same as this. All right. So where do you think black can play to essentially make it a definitely alive group? The correct play to play is right here. And then this is, well, essentially, yeah. This one is interesting because you can't actually play here first because your opponent can hane here. So notice, yeah, you can't play. You have to actually close this first. And then you can... This is a bent 4, so you can... Oh wait. Oh, yeah. Bent 4 is a little bit, Sorry, this one was less straightforward than the others. Let me go back to it real quick.
Use the straight 3, pyramid 4, and bent 4 that you've learned to keep black alive or prevent white from doing so.
Alright, wait. Okay, this one is a little bit, tricky, essentially, because, yeah, if this point right here is the point, so you notice if white plays here, you'll have 2 eyes here and here, so if black plays here, then notice that if white plays there, then black can, or then white has a chance to make this a live group. But see, you can turn this can turn into a ko, but yeah, you close it. It's a little complicated, but anyway.
Back to ambiguous shapes. Which one is this similar to? Here, playing a move in the middle makes 4 eyes. Note that playing anywhere else will give white the opportunity to kill.
Will they look like the ones on your model? Wait, will what look like the ones on my model? Oh, the glasses? Somewhat similar, not exactly. And I'm gonna have 2 different types, round glasses and glasses that are more like these, more square. What are you talking about? I can't break immersion. They're gonna be exactly the same.
When white takes the vital point, this shape reduces to 1 eye. Again, the reasoning is that black cannot play any moves to make two eyes, while white can play from inside to create a pyramid 4.
So this is essentially the same thing, the white playing here to capture the group, or to kill the group, that is.
This one looks different, but is almost the same as the previous one. Here, black has multiple ways to make the shape alive. On the other hand, white has one shot at killing this shape. If they play the vital point, we have the same situation as previously. Black dies with only one eye.
Oops, I apologize to the chat for the immersion breaking. Tisk tisk.
Adding yet another space, we have yet another ambiguous shape. It's easy to see that black can create two eyes with another move. But when white plays inside at the vital point, black is helpless. There's not enough space to create two eyes. But white can create a bulky 5 shape inside. This is the largest big eye shape white can still kill.
Yep. So, hey, welcome, Rack. So yeah, this is essentially the biggest shape that you'll see. That's like a killable shape, which is that key point.
This shape of 6 is alive. You can see the way your spaces are arranged matters. Figuring out
Yeah, do notice that the
black's
Ravity
two
6
eyes
is
takes a bit of
six
work.
spaces in a different organization, and that's definitely dead. This is definitely alive.
Try anything. But when black takes the opposite one, you have 2 options to create a second eye.
But yeah, the reason this group is definitely alive is because there's no, even if white plays first, it can't kill the black group, because black just plays on the other spot, and then white has no other recourse.
In the corner, things are a bit different. Here, it is important to take the upper key point. Going through the same variation, black is short of liberties. This means the regular 6 in the corner is
Regular
ambiguous.
6.
As black, you should add another move in order not to die.
The narrator misread one of the words. She said the regular 6 in the corner, not rectangular 6. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, this is essentially, it's pretty self-explanatory. The corner and the side can definitely mess with things, like that a central group does not necessarily have the same issues because of the reduced liberties on the corners and sides.
There is one more thing to
And this is
know
the last
about
thing to know about
and
life and death.
situations. It doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes 2 groups can be alive by virtue of not being able to kill one another. Here you see such a situation. If either player took another liberty away from the opponent, their own group would die. Instead, neither player should play another move. We say they are both alive in Seki.
Yep, Seki is an interesting thing that is born out of the rules of Go, where yeah, it's mutually assured destruction essentially. Well, no, not mutually assured destruction, but no, that's not if this is if one person makes the move, the other person wins, so neither person can make the move. That's like that's a little different from if one person makes the move, everyone gets destroyed. Cause yeah, if you make the move, then you lose, and your opponent wins, not both lose. We were getting smart and sophisticated with this one. I see you can't not get smart and sophisticated with Go.
Try to use the capturing technique that you've learned to keep black alive or prevent white from doing so.
All right, I'll give you guys a few seconds on each of these if you want to try solving them on your own. So where do you keep black alive? Right there. This, where does black play? This shape, if you can identify it, is a bulky 5, which the vital point is there. And this is the rectangular 6 in the corner that we just talked about. And remember they said that the top, this top point is the vital point. Yeah. Okay. So how does white kill this group? And this is not too difficult. It's right there. But then you also have to play the continuation. Oh, it's not gonna play out the whole thing. Yeah, this is essentially one of those where you're filling up your opponent's eye shape with a dead shape, essentially. Cause yeah, essentially, like, look, by playing at this point and then at this point, now your opponent can play at these points, but that will just get them closer to their own capture, and then you can play the last point. However, if you keep trying to capture this group, you can basically play on everything but one point. They can capture it, but then they leave a bent 4 in where it is, you know? So by leaving that shape, then it's now black's turn to play again, so black can play at the vital point again. Hopefully that wasn't too complicated. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. But that is essentially the lesson of life or death. Hey, welcome, Hubert. Badman, while I solve these Go problems, here's something you might appreciate. What is this? Oh, Common Writer stuff. Anyway, so that's life and death. So we went through basics, capture tactics, life and death, and there's still 3 more tutorials. That probably won't take that long though, because the first 3 are like the 3 major things for learning Go.
Some would say Go is all about building shapes. One thing is true, from the opening and middle game all the way to the end game. If you understand shapes well and remember important ones, you have almost nothing to fear.
Almost nothing to fear.
We will go on a journey to discover different shapes and make up our minds about them on the way.
Wait, I just thought of something. Common Writer. Is that just a new meme? I thought that was just a Guilty Gear meme, but I guess it's just a meme, huh?
Let's start with this one. This notoriously bad shape will help us understand some things we want our shapes to have. It is called the dumpling. Try to count how many stones white has invested into.
So yeah, you should learn both good and bad
every
shapes.
Single one of them worth it?
Can you make friends with Go? It feels like Hikaru only made enemies and rivals apart from Sai and Toya's dad. Yeah, you can make friends, and I would say Hikaru and Toya are friends. It's just a particular, you know, dynamic of friendship that includes healthy amounts of rivalry. But yeah, you can definitely make friends with Go. I've made friends with Go players, definitely. So to get back to this, So the reason why this shape is bad is because there's a lot of stones, but there's a lot of stones invested into this shape, but you don't have a lot of liberties in return.
Is it good for white to have a stone at 1? You might rightfully argue they would prefer not to have a stone there. After all, the stones are connected either way and could potentially form
Yeah,
an eye
essentially
there.
this shape would be a lot better
One
without the
thing is
one
certain,
stone right here, but this
shape
just
is
makes it
not very
worse, way
efficient,
worse.
without eyes and few liberties.
Yeah, without eyes and few liberties. Notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 stones, and you have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 liberties with 6 stones. But notice if you had 6 stones just in a line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you would have 14 liberties, right? 6 on top, 6 on bottom, and then 2 on the sides. So you had 14 liberties of 6 stones were just in a straight line. But thanks to this shape, you only have 9. So that shows you just how inefficient this shape is.
Dumplings can take many forms. Here is another example of the dumpling, called the empty triangle. Empty referring to the unoccupied spot.
Honestly, the first 3 tutorials are like the 3 tutorials you need to basically play Go, and then after the rest of these is more like starting to get into slightly more advanced stuff beyond the very basics, like the empty triangle, for example. This is still like a very basic thing to know about the game. Yeah, if you build one of these shapes, chances are you should have played something else with one of your valuable moves. Like, if you had 2 stones in a line and then your third move is like playing here, that's, yeah, that's why they call this the empty triangle.
Let's look at the 3 shapes. The empty triangle doesn't maximize its liberties. It has 7 liberties in isolation, whereas the straight 3 on the left have 8 liberties. And also, if black wants to develop from 2 connected stones to the right, then play the marked stone black instead. White cannot cut this formation without
Then play the
cutting
marked
surrounding
stone
stones.
black instead. That doesn't make sense grammatically. So yeah, this is basically showing what I had just explained about the liberties.
The bamboo joint is the embodiment of connecting shapes. It is usually
This is another
impossible
important
to
shape.
get through. If black plays at 1 or 2, white can respond on the other and stay connected. A beginner mistake is trying to cut a bamboo joint.
Yep, so that's an important one to know. The 2 stones with 2 spaces between them, yeah, you can't cut that. It's essentially the Miai thing. If you play on one, if your opponent plays on one spot, you play on the other.
Is called a panuki. There is a proverb.
Panuki.
Panuki is worth 30 points. Without doubt, it is a very strong shape due to its influence in all directions. It comes from the fact that white
Was it
captured
30? I thought it was
stones,
more
meaning
points.
they technically only invested 3 stones in this shape.
Yeah, this is the shape that naturally comes about by capturing a lone stone on the board. Rarely will you get this shape out of just capturing a stone by placing around all 4, because why did your opponent let you do that? They would have done other stuff. But yeah, this is a very strong shape. It's called a ponuki. I liked how they pronounced it. It was funny. Ponuki.
The shape of capturing a stone resulting in a diamond shape is called a panuki. There is a proverb.
A panuki. I don't know. It's just the inflection. I would just say panuki, but you know, that sounds like you're saying like attaché, panuki. Would you call this a good resource for anyone who wants to get into Go? Oh yeah, absolutely. Honestly though, it is good, and I think it is probably worth the money. It's the client's not very expensive, I think. I mean, it's Go client should not be that expensive. Let me see. All right, so just Go on Steam is $10. You don't have to pay $10 to play Go. There are plenty of free ways to play Go online. And there are plenty of online tutorials and guides and stuff like that on teaching you Go that you don't necessarily need to spend $10 to buy this program. However, if you do buy this program, it does have these nice tutorials, and you know, it's honestly like you're buying it more for kind of like just having it all in one place and the aesthetic, and also the fact that it's like a Steam game that you can also play like on OGS, on which is the online Go server. Yeah, if you search for OGS, you'll find it. Had to step away for 2 minutes. I hope you didn't miss much. You missed everything. Anyway, let's move on.
There is a phenomenon among beginners which we call the Hane disease. A Hane is a move which reaches around one.
I don't actually know what the Hane
vehicles
disease is, but I'm curious what they'll say.
Use it only in special situations, such as in response to a contact.
Or just Haneing too much, I guess.
There is a proverb called Hane at the head of 2 and 3 stones. It explains why in the situation on the right, the Hane is a good move. Black could have simply extended at 1. There's nothing
Hey,
wrong
look!
with it. However, the
You
Hane
can
allows black to put more pressure on white
see my
by taking away a liberty. White can try to cut, but will not like the result. It is more common for white to answer at 2.
But yeah, essentially, it's kind of funny that they say like there's the Hane disease, but then they're like, also there's a proverb that you should Hane. Like, well, okay, well then what's the Hane disease?
In Go, there are many different.
Wait, you're not gonna explain the Hane disease?
There is a phenomenon among beginners which we call the Hane disease.
Generally only use it in special situations such as in response to a contact play. I don't know about this generally only use it in special situations. I mean, how do you define what's a special situation? A situation where it's good to use the Hane, but I mean, yeah, it's kind of ambiguous. I don't like how they described it. Know of any good mobile apps to play Go? Mobile apps. There was... Wait, let me think. There are definitely like apps that have like Go problems and stuff. I don't know of any like mobile clients that you can just play Go with other people or computer. I'm sure there's apps that you can play against CPUs though, for sure. I don't know how that will work playing with other people on like a mobile though. But yeah, you can definitely get like Go problem apps, which can really help and just is good as practice. Anyway. Oh.
In Go, there are many different types of movement. Here you see a basic collection.
This is Funding Agent. I'm gonna buy this and do my best to become a suitable opponent one day. I wish you luck. Go is very fun and very rewarding in my opinion.
Easier to cut.
It is a respectable thing to dedicate your life to.
Choose which one to play. Let's find out in more detail.
Or to a lesser degree, just dedicating some of your free time to learning. is good too. But I also think it is a worthwhile pursuit to, you know, become a professional and all that stuff. So yeah, this is just talking about movement, and as you saw, like, you're not always playing stones to touch your own stones. You're playing stones to kind of exert influence and control the board. So often the times you will not be playing stones immediately touching each other. Here's a few movements.
Is one of our first options to consider when it comes to movement. It is fast and steady, but has a defect at 1. The good thing is, in most cases, this defect is easy to handle, as Black will be outnumbered if he tries to play there. Check out the example on the right.
This is essentially the one space jump can be cut, but depending on where the one space jump is, like, you can counter that cut.
The diagonal move is slow but reliable. No matter where it is on the board, it is always connected. That is,
hey,
if
welcome,
Black
welcome,
hits a move
Rubbish.
at 1, White can play at 2 any time to connect. Of course, Black cannot move very far with this one move alone, so a balance between this and some faster moves is recommended. Play this to save all of your stones when you're afraid of being cut.
Yeah, this is a good move for keeping connected. It's just slow. It's just slow because it doesn't... the one space jump goes farther, but is less connected. There are trade-offs to the different ways to move around.
Just remember, a good Go player is okay to be cut if they get something of higher value in return. As you improve, you will get less scared. So might as well experiment with faster movement techniques and see if you can handle them.
As you improve, you'll get less scared. I don't know if I would say that. I feel like I still have like a healthy amount of fear.
The next
Here's another
move is a
movement.
stone placement which makes an L shape. It strikes a good balance between the diagonal and the one space jump.
Nakema.
Any
You'll
way
hear
to cut
Japanese
this shape
term
will depend
used
on a
sometimes.
ladder, no
Kema.
matter where it is. Can you find the 2 ladders?
This is the ladder essentially right here. This is one of the ladders. This is just showing that, like, look, there's 2 ladders. See, by playing there and then you can cut, then notice these 2. Something that takes a little bit to get used to, but once you've had experience looking at Go boards and Go stones on the boards, it'll become easier. But identifying which groups are connected and which groups are separate. To bring it to one of to my to the pin on my hat. Can you guys identify how many groups are in the Go stones on my hat? How many different groups? Usage of fear is amusing. It makes it seem like the natural stakes for the game is something a piece of your soul is being anteed up. It's not so much a piece of your soul. It's just, it can be very crushing to, like, make mistakes and feel dumb, you know? And you can definitely make some huge mistakes and go and just throw games. And yeah, it's... I'm not sure if I want to answer. I'll feel silly if you say the wrong thing. No, go ahead. You can answer, and if you wanna explain why you think that answer is correct, you can try to explain it, and I'll explain the correct answer if you're correct or not. So to reiterate, the question I'm asking is, the 4 ghost stones on my hat. You see this stones that make up these this square shape, you know, with two black and 2 white stones. How many different groups are in this shape? It's partially your pride being on the line, but also like, I don't know. Is it pride that you just like, it feels bad when you make dumb mistakes? Like, I guess that is pride. I don't have much logic behind it. I was paying attention, but the information is fully sung. It's a lot to go through, no pun intended. Well, could you make a guess? How many groups? There are 4 stones on my hat, so how many groups can there possibly be? There's definitely more than 1 group. Well, there's definitely at least 1 group, I'll tell you that much. And there can't be more than 4 groups. There's 4 stones. So how many groups are there? 1, 2, 3, or 4? First, think of how stones are connected. How are stones connected to each other? Stones are connected if there is a stone on basically the cardinal directions, north, south, east, or west. You know, if there is a same color stone on one of those cross points, then it is connected. I was gonna go with 3 initially. Oh, you're close. You're close. You're on the right track, I guess, because I'd say the more groups you name, the more on the right track you're on, with 4 being the correct answer. This is the name for this shape on my hat is called the crosscut, or or also known as the kirichigai, which is literally like wrong cut, or different cut. A tad, but there's fascinating psychological games going. 2 seemed too little. I just wasn't sure if 4 was too much. Nope, it is 4. It is 4 because, I mean, it's a symmetrical shape, as you can see. We're looking at the ghost stones on my hat. But notice that each stone has no allied stones on adjacent spots, see? So like that black stone in the upper left has white stones on to the right and to below it, and it's not connected to the black stone diagonal across from it. This is why I find this shape interesting, is because it's 4 stones, but they're 4 completely separate groups that have to fend for themselves. And it is a very combative shape, in the sense that if this shape appears on the board, it's usually going to result in some kind of big fight. Anyway, so yeah, this is the knight's move. The important takeaway of the knight's move is that it has ladders to defend the cut. You know, they didn't really explain cutting that much. Cutting and connect. I feel like they should explain cutting more.
As you may guess, this one is similar to its
I guess they're
smaller
explaining cutting here.
However, it is, of course, easier to cut. Usually, we like to play this formation in the opening on the 3rd or 4th line, as being close to the edge can help.
So yeah, Go in large part is about keeping your stones connected and keeping your opponent's stones from being connected. So a lot of effort is spent in trying to cut apart your opponent's stones so that they're separated from each other, and also keeping your own groups connected, and thus preventing them from being cut. So you're spending a lot of the game either trying to figure out how to cut your opponent's group or to avoid being cut yourself. And each of these moves, the 2 space jump, the 1 space jump, the knight's move, the diagonal move, they're all ways to move on the board that aren't just like playing a stone directly adjacent to another board.
Virtually the same thing applies here. If you play this in the opening, it is easier for black to invade. However, you will naturally gain thickness that you can use to attack. This is a bit
I know
more
gaining
advanced than the
thickness
other shapes
sounds
we've had a
kind
look at
of
so far. So let's skip
kind of
it now.
yabai maybe, but or kind of lewd, but thickness and thinness is just referring to how the size, the overall strength of your group. Well, thickness refers to like having a thick group means that it's difficult for it to be hold on a second. Let me so I don't mess this up, the definition of thick. Okay, thick just means powerful. Thick stones, thick plays, thick shape, thick styles of play. There are thick territories. Player's whole board might be thick. It's better to be thick than thin. It is better to be thick than heavy. So I guess it's more, these terms are better in context. A thick formation is like you have a lot of power in that location, but it's not heavy. A heavy formation is like being thick, except you have too many stones in that location and thus it's inefficient, you see? So like if your group is thin, then it can easily be cut. It's not very strong. If your group is thick, then it's probably difficult to get cut and it's probably pretty strong. If your group is heavy, it might be strong or weak, but it just means that there are too many stones invested in that area, and that it's become cumbersome essentially. Like the problem with having heavy groups is that they're a liability essentially. If you have a heavy group, then you have to spend a lot of resources defending it, and you have to be very careful, and it's very vulnerable to attack. And yeah, essentially you want to avoid thin groups and you want to avoid heavy groups. How many C's do you need to be uncuttable? Good question. I don't know. What kind of C's are you talking about? Anyway, so that's the section on shapes. So we just have 2 more sections left. And these shouldn't be too long. Wow, we're already at 2 hours. Time is really passing by fast, isn't it? I'm gonna have to like look at the look at my whatchamacallit. I need to look at the VOD to see like how I pace things, if I could have paced things better. But anyway, let's go to Fuseki, which is openings.
When learning about opening principles, a lot of questions remain unanswered. Just consider one corner.
One thing that can be difficult for
You may
beginners
remember that
and
you
even
shouldn't
not
play
just
on the
beginners,
first and second line.
but figuring out where to
Other
play
than
on an
that,
open board.
The options from 1 to 5 all seem to be playable. Still, what next? If you play a move in the corner,
Opening is where you can kind of show off your personality and well, I mean, honestly, throughout Go, you're showing off your personality and your playstyle, but Seki is especially like, cause your opening style determines the flow of the entire game and also your own flow, you know?
what we're interested in is global opening ideas, how we spread our stones across the board, and what
For those
relation
confused,
they
this is the
share.
actual size of a Go bond. Those previous ones were baby board.
Fuseki
Yeah,
is a
this is the
very
actual
long
size of a
and
Go board. This is the
flexible
full size
field,
19 by
and we cannot
19
go
Go
into
board.
all the details. We don't have to either. Still, it is worth exploring some of the relevant concepts. And maybe you can even come up with your own fuseki at the end.
Yep. There's some silly fuseki out there.
One option after the corners are taken is for black to enclose one of them. 1 to 4 are the main options to consider, depending on how territorial or influential you feel. These
Influency.
prevent white from sharing the corner by approaching it themselves.
Let me move.
Enclosures from 4-4 cornerstones are also possible, although it is less popular since emphasis is not mainly on territory. Still, similar shapes can be
Essentially,
used.
this is saying that if you play your stone like here, like the 3-4 point, you can play another stone somewhere here to enclose this corner. And enclosure doesn't mean you're guaranteed to have that, but it's the first step towards establishing territory, which can still be contested later. Remember to hydrate. Oh yeah, I've been hydrating. I actually need to refill my drink before I actually play like a real game, cause yeah. So this is saying essentially that yeah, enclosures like this, but the 4-4 point alone is not an enclosure. It's not considered an enclosure. It strikes the balance between territory and influence. Playing on the 4-4 point doesn't mean you've claim the corner, and in fact the opponent can steal the corner from you by playing at the 3-3 point underneath it, and it's a very common 3-3 invasion is a very common thing, especially with the rise of AI Go, because it's a very popular AI move to 3-3 invade.
If white minds their own business and does not play on the right side, black 7 nicely develops a framework. If you like trying to build a huge territory like this, an enclosure is worth considering.
So yeah, frameworks.
Note that 7 could be on the 3rd line as well. Take a look at the game on the right to see how this move and idea may develop.
Yeah, so yeah, you basically in the beginning of the game, you essentially start out by you're laying out your framework, and yeah, you will get into like fights and into direct contact with the opponent, but oftentimes to start off, you're not really like directly conflicting with your opponent.
Here is where Ni Wei-ping played as white in 1993 versus Zhu Ying as black. Immediately after opening, white started to make trouble in the black sphere of influence. You may notice that this example game is pretty old. That is because framework strategies have gone rapidly out of fashion since then, putting more emphasis on territory. Still, games like this can be fun and are still popular among amateur players.
Yeah, honestly, like worrying about Go fashion and what's like meta and stuff like that is not something you should be concerned about too much. I mean, yeah, there are definitely more accepted ways of playing than others, but it's like the field of Go is so spread out, like in terms of like different people and their play styles and skill levels being able to play against one another, that like you can have a huge spread of skills between like a bunch of different people to where each person can just stomp the next person down the line, but get stomped by the person, you know, like, I mean, that's why they have the Q and Don rating system in the first place. Each level is supposed to be like 1 stone worth of handicap. So like, for example, if you're a 10Q and you're playing against a 9Q, technically that means that the 9Q is like 1 stone handicap stronger than you, essentially. That's how of course, until you get like into the pretty high, your rating is extremely flexible and can very much change depending on your opponent and lots of different factors. It's very complicated. But yeah, in the beginning, you shouldn't really be worrying too much about like, oh, framework strategies are out of style now, or you should try to just learn everything and keep an open mind, and then yeah, and gravitate to what you like.
Instead of enclosing the corner, Black may try to play 5 and 7. This is called the mini Chinese. Look at the Chinese opening to compare.
I'm not actually that good at Seki. I don't have a single way that I usually do my Seki. I'll sometimes go Sanrensei, which is the 3 star points. Sometimes I'll go like corner enclosure. I don't know. It really depends. So essentially here, wait. Let's
Here we show 3 common mini Chinese opening variations. And there are a lot more nuances to the mini Chinese than we've made it seem like.
Oh my god, there's I don't know how you can make it seem like there's not many nuances, because oh my god, the nuances in Go are just like infinitely absorbing.
Approaches the corner.
But yeah, this just shows you just one of many ways that this formation can play out. White or Black getting a lot of outside influence, while White gets some territory down there. But yeah, let's move on.
The pattern was
Kobayashi.
And developed by Japanese
I don't think people play Kobayashi much anymore, but
in the 1980s. With 3, Black is less likely to enclose the corner directly, as it would be facing the white stone. However, ideally, Black would still like to keep the lower right corner. The point is, by playing 5 and 7, Black is gaining strength, defending the corner indirectly.
I would this voiceover to torture normies. It reminds me of the start of the Half-Life. You would what this voiceover? You accidentally the whole voiceover.
As shown in the example on the right, instead of defending the corner directly, Black is limiting White to playing a pincer.
This is already kind of getting into the point of more advanced stuff, because yeah, once you get past the basic rules.
Secured the lower side as territory, but they have also managed to keep the corner as well as play on the right side. This is not a good result for White.
Yeah, that's pretty bad for White.
Since White is afraid to be pincered, a far approach like the move at 1 is preferred. If Black pincers now, White has more space to work with. Of course, White could have simply played on the right side without approaching any corner to avoid these complications. What do you think about an indirect defense like this?
I think this is a good consideration. There's a good takeaway that playing too close to your opponent.
The Chinese opening originated in Japan in the 17th century and was perfected by Chinese player Chen Zhude in the 1960s.
Chinese opening originated in Japan.
Chinese openings, the high at 1 and the low Chinese at 2. If you understood the idea of Kobayashi and mini Chinese, you may guess what Black's plan is if White approaches the lower right corner. As shown in the example on the right, Black is limiting White's eye space, and the stone at 5...
This will be easier for me to explain once I'm in an actual game of my own, and I can try to explain to you my thoughts behind what I'm doing.
The Chinese opening aims to establish a position on the right side, balancing 3rd and 4th line stones. It indirectly takes care of white approaching the corner and can possibly turn into a framework type of game.
I don't know an easy way to explain that, so I'm just gonna move on. This is one of the most common openings, I would say.
On the right side, putting more emphasis on the center and building a framework. Takamiya, one of the most unique and interesting players with his cosmic style, put a lot of emphasis on the center. When you play the Sanren sound,
Cosmic style.
you can try to mimic him. Let's check out some variations on the right to get a feeling for these
I want to
ideas.
look at cosmic style. Consistent use of large-scale frameworks. This cuts across the development of a territorial style which is more reliable in terms of results and top players. Takamiya's way is more artistic in the sense that would be understood in Japanese tradition, more personal, and also much admired by amateur players for its apparent freedom. Anyway.
In an effective Fuseki strategy, Miyamoto explains, it is no fun to always play a common Fuseki.
Oh yeah, this is fun too.
Sometimes you should try to devise an elaborate plan and play a free and bold Fuseki. This might help you to enlarge
I still
your
get
scope of perception. Let us take a look at some of the strange but interesting openings.
It's funny because I know this doesn't seem like much or doesn't make sense or to people that are new, but like bold, this part here is actually true. The playing free and bold Fuseki, it might not always be the best strategy, or it might not be the most straightforward strategy, but it allows you to show your personality. And hold on a second. You can pull off some pretty impressive stuff with some cool Fuseki, including some very like cool games. Like one of the coolest games in Hikaru no Go is from the OVAs, because Hikaru versus I forget what the name of the other guy is, but he was from Kansai, but they both played like really weird games with like a really weird openings, and it's extremely like, I don't know, it still gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Just the going back and forth, like playing their increasingly more ridiculous Fuseki against each other, starting off on like the 5 point, and then second move tengen, and then the other third move on the other 5x5. It's just those sorts of things like make me like give me a refreshed outlook on Go, I guess. Did you just take an emotional damage by saying it shows your personality? I took emotional damage from thinking about how cool it was to do the interesting Fuseki, and how meaningful it is. Sorry, I'm kind of weird. I can sometimes get emotional just from really meaningful gestures, even if they're not like necessarily emotionally laden, like, if that makes sense. Anyway, let's take a look at some of the weird Fuseki.
The black hole Fuseki puts incredible emphasis on the center.
I don't know if people actually play this in tournament games, quote unquote. You have to really see what tournament they're trying to talk about, but
generally, black aims to seal off the corners so that white has to stop a black framework in the middle. When white creates a fifth or even a sixth group, black's attack will be hard to deal with. If white does survive, black will still have gained a lot of profit from the attack, allowing them to catch up with the corners.
See, that's the thing. Like, Go is there's so many possible games and so many possible styles of play with Go that, like, even with the advent of AI, there's still no way to say like this is the one correct move in all situations. You know, there's no one accepted opening strategy, or, you know, like you can still go be very creative even at the highest levels of play. Which I think is cool. I think is really cool. Just the fact that, like, you can show so much of your personality while still playing at an extremely high level of skill. Like, that's just awesome. And that's honestly one of the things I admire about Go. And I got that sort of like declarations and appreciation. Yeah, it is a sort of appreciation. 'Cause like I don't know, and it's also just like a memory from when I was younger too, so might have to do with it. So yeah, this is the black hole formation. I'm not saying like if you play this you're a scrub or anything. Like I wouldn't call anyone a scrub for playing an interesting Fuseki, honestly, cause honestly that's just one of the. It'd be hard for me to call somebody a scrub in Go, just cause it's not really like the sort of game where you end up being scrubby, in the same sense that a fighting game player, you don't have people like, oh man, the fucking meta, fucking this Blackstone's too OP, you gotta nerf that shit. The Knight's move, that's bullshit. They need to nerf the Knight's move, you know, like But yeah, Go is very cool to me because it's like it's one of the most simplest like games in terms of like just basic rules, but it's so complex that, like, yeah, it's just beautiful to me in a way, you know. Here's another opening.
The Great Wall is an opening experiment where stones 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 build a large wall extending from one side to the other. The idea of this formation is to disrupt any big ideas white might have. In the meantime, black will try to pick fights wherever possible, using the center.
And see, that's
stones
another
to that
thing
effect.
to note, is that your Fuseki will also influence your playstyle, and also, like, depending on the type of game that you want to play, you can play a game where you can play games where you're mostly passive or peaceful and you don't fight much, or you can play games that are just like you know, no holds barred, just the complete brawl fest between each other. That's like the stake of the entire game. Like you can definitely have people that are like playing very aggressive or very passive styles of Go, and like it's actually pretty exhilarating to fight somebody who just constantly gets into fights, because it's like you never know, like you're always on your toes. Go, there are some people that were scrubs, very weird people that got mad and heated over it. I'd have to like rewatch Go and decide who I would consider a scrub, quote unquote. But I think some people did get justifiably mad and heated over certain situations that I think maybe like a non-Go player would just not understand. So, like, for example, like Hikaru just being so freaking good but being such a noob otherwise, like that's just frustrating and perplexing, you know.
Hopefully by now you will have.
And this is
gained
the ultimate
some
Fuseki,
insights
the
into
end
what
Fuseki.
Fuseki
No.
and Go openings involve. We saw a lot of examples after all. Thinking about all these things can be difficult.
Yeah,
but
it is a
don't
lot
let
to
it
think
get to you
about.
Too much.
So
If you fall behind in the opening, there will be plenty of chances to catch up. So do not worry about the details. The most important thing for you to do is to figure out what kind of game you're most comfortable with.
Yeah, like play a game on your terms. Like if you do love just getting into fights and being aggressive and writing everything on the status of the life or death of a fight, then you can opt for a more aggressive playstyle. Now, if you like to play loosely and not be overcommittal, you can do that too. Hey, welcome, Rox. Yeah, some characters were like, how can someone this good at Go also act this childish? Yeah, that's another thing too. It's just like, cause being like that good at Go implies a certain maturity that like was just not being shown by Hikaru at the beginning of Hikaru no Go. But let's see. So that's the Fuseki tutorial. We're almost done. Maybe I should get into a game before doing the end game tutorial. This goes both for Hikaru and some other characters in the manga and show. What goes both for them? Do I want to do endgame or do I want to just do a... Well, we're already at 2.5 hours and I haven't played an actual game of Go yet, so... Hold on, this is probably not going to be too long. Let's just do it. I'll try not to waste too much time.
Most beginners learn that a game ends when both players pass their turns. That may sound simple enough, but there are some tips here. Endgame
Oh, being decent and Go and also being quite childish? Yeah, that's true.
E.g., how should we play locally to maximize my own territory? We will not cover these topics here. Instead, we are concerned with laying the foundation for it. And the most important question to answer is, when should both players actually pass?
See, and that's the thing about Go is that like it's so deep in terms of like knowledge and skill and your ability to perform in the game that like you really shouldn't worry. Like you can't be a perfectionist about it. Even someone like me who tends to be perfectionist about things, like I have that's honestly I think what makes it hard for me to play games sometimes is I kind of have a perfectionist streak, and that makes me feel really bad when I do things wrong. Even though, like, you're making wrong moves essentially, starting from like move 2 on practically, quote unquote wrong moves. But like, yeah. But anyway, let's just I said I wouldn't.
Have a look at this game. Black just passed, saying the game is over. Now it is on to White to think about whether they agree with it.
Nope.
White knows one thing about the definition of territory. It needs to be surrounded fully, meaning all the way to the edge of the board. This certainly applies to White's territory and to Black's lower territory. But then,
Go reminds me of how small I am in the universe. I'd play it more if not for that. Oh.
Are not completely
That's an
connected
interesting
to the edge.
consideration. I don't know, that sort of thought doesn't really bother me too much. Because there are things that are like way smaller, and I mean there's gonna be things that are way bigger in both directions, right? I don't know. That thought doesn't really bother me so much, but I can see if the nigh infinite possibilities of a Go board can be very intimidating, as well as showing just how much possibility there is in the universe. If all of this can be in the result of a very simple game of black and white stones on a board, that it can end up being this complicated, and then what does that say about the rest of the universe, you know? Yeah, it's because there's so much that I don't know, and there will be so much that I will never know about Go, unlike in, say, chess. That's the thing, though. For me, like, chess... I'm still gonna learn chess one day. I haven't actually, like... I've kind of, like, saved learning chess for, like, down the line when I decide to get into it all at once. Because I still, like, despite how much I've played Go and how good I am at Go, I'm actually, like, very, very noob at chess. Like, I've watched a few games, but I haven't spent any real time or effort trying to learn how to become better, or how to, beyond just learning how to play chess, you know? But one of these days I want to do see how fast, like, basically do what I did in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, where I start off being a beginner and I see how fast I can get to, like, a high rating, you know? But that'll be one day down the line, either as Kumiko or who knows. But yeah, anyway, get back to this. Sealing off territories. So there is one spot here that White can play to make Black's territory smaller. Specifically up here.
In fact, if the game were to end now, none of the points at the top would technically be called Black's territory. Instead of passing, Black should have played at 1, completely sealing off this area and thus winning the game. If you have a strict referee at a tournament and you make a mistake like this, it might cost you
Chess
the whole
road to
game.
diamond. Essentially, like a road to diamond, or like a road to, maybe not grandmaster, but road to, like, mastery. I don't know, like, the whole, like, there's so much that I will never know about Go, unlike in, say, chess. I feel like that's actually comforting to me in a way, because, like, I feel like I could spend as much effort, like basically, like, Go is like an infinite sink for effort when it comes to in getting, like, returns out of it, whereas, I don't know, maybe with chess there might be diminishing returns, or you might run out of stuff, or there's, like, I don't know, chess is essentially solved, right? The best chess players can't beat the best. I mean, that's kind of how it's becoming in Go now, but in chess, a long time, it's like grandmasters can't beat AIs, the best AIs, and only until, like, within the past 10 years or so, I think, have Go AI evolved to the point of being able to beat, like, professional Go players. I remember back in, like, the early 2000s when the strongest Go AI was only around, like I could beat the strongest Go AI. Yeah, a puzzle you can always back to and make progress, but, like, not only is it's like a shared puzzle, because, like, you know, you enjoy the puzzle while playing with other people, and you know, by getting better at it, you can it's kind of like a fighting game, you know, like, getting better at a fighting game allows you to have more fulfilling matches, because you're more engaged, you're more you know what's going on, even if you're not the best player. If you're playing against someone of a similar level of skill, you can have very meaningful and interesting and important matches against each other, right? Like, I consider all the matches that I play against people, like, in the Strive streams, like, meaningful and important, you know? None of them did I feel like I was just spinning my wheels or not, you know, just mashing buttons, right? Like to me, learning a game or something like this to a high level of skill that you can, like, express your personality in and then clash with your opponent, and is very, I don't know, is appealing to me, and is the reason why I like fighting games too.
In this case, you might be tempted to use the previous method and conclude this game is finished. Sadly, there is a little more to it. When all territories are sealed off, the next thing to do is take a closer look at the board and look for Ataris. Here, the
Yep,
marked stones are either
this is just,
already in
yeah.
Atari or can be put into Atari.
So these situations are not done because essentially white or black, if there's any spots on the board white can play or black can play that will increase the amount of points that one of the players has or decrease the amount of points that the other player has, then the game's not over yet.
If a stone is already in Atari, with one more move, you can take it off the board to gain points. So both black and white are still interested in playing at 1. What about the other two? A potential Atari means that you can force your opponent to respond by playing there. After all, they
Yep,
don't want
so
their
this
stones
is
to be
not...
taken.
Well, let's see.
This game is basically finished. The only reasonable moves left to play, besides putting stones inside your own or your opponent's territory, are 1 and 2. They're what we call dame or neutral.
Dame?
points.
What?
That is because for neither player would it be profitable
Dame.
to play here. Using Japanese or Korean rules, they do not make any difference to the
Oh
score.
yeah, that's what we
So
call
both
dame.
players may count and count. Using Chinese rules, they do, however, count as points.
They sort of
Therefore,
dropped the
it
ball
is
on the
advised to
pronunciation there.
play out the neutral points.
I think that shows that the narrator is definitely not a Go player. This is what we call dame. Damn it.
Consider the two marked points. On first sight, they may look like neutral points. However, passing here
That's the
would be
only
fatal.
time they've made that
The best
mistake
way
I've
to make
found
sure you don't miss these points is by playing out
in terms of
all
a wrong
neutral
pronunciation in
points.
Japanese word.
The following 3 steps should equip you well for the endgame. 1. Seal off all territories. 2. Play or prevent Ataris. Look for captures. 3. Play out the neutral points.
Yep.
All
All right, and
now that
I
we
guess
have
there's 2
covered
more
the
topics
general
left.
Strategy for endgame. Let's swiftly discuss 2
Swiftly.
more topics. Imagine this is your game. Black has completely surrounded the top right. Is there anything white can do in this game, or should they simply pass? The truth is, it's difficult to tell. Technically, both players could pass, and there would be no problem. However, white is now behind in this game, and the only chance to catch back up would be to invade.
Yeah, sometimes the only way to win is by banking on your opponent making a mistake or tricking your opponent into making a mistake.
Here is one thing to remember. As long as your opponent
Oh man, I
responds,
just got
it is always
I just
worth
got
trying to
goosebumps
invade
thinking
their
about
area at the end. When
the
lower
Sai
ranked
versus
players
Toya
do this,
Koyo
it's
fight
often considered
in
annoying.
Hikaru no Go.
But truth be told, if it is successful even one time, it was definitely worth it. There is no better way to find out what happens than by trying something.
That's a matter of opinion, I think. When lower ranked players do this, it is often considered annoying, but truth be told, if it's successful even one time, it will definitely be worth it. Like, some people might argue, like, you shouldn't be doing that because, you know, you're not going to be able to get away with that in a real game or something like that, but like, you know, you're playing a real game, so deal with it. No, but that will happen. Like, low-ranked players will try to go for things that are clearly dead, or try to live in an area where they're clearly not alive. But the thing is that your opponent can still mess up, and then that group that was dead could actually be alive now, or you could kill that group, or, you know, like, there's a lot of different playing inside really large areas is kind of, you kind of have to do it as a lower level player because you need to like figure it out. And as a higher level player, you just kind of got to be very careful not to fuck up. Because that feels really terrible when you're like have a crushing advantage and then your opponent starts like throwing in seemingly random stuff and then they end up getting ahead of you. Yeah.
Obviously, not all games of Go are very peaceful. But at the end of the game, when players decide which groups are dead and should be taken off the board, a lot of difficulties arise. On this board, all of the marked stones are dead. There is no need to play.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, both players need to agree on the status, the life or death status of a group.
And agree that those stones count as minus points.
Like this group at the upper left, like that group is definitely not alive. It doesn't have to be played out, but it can be played out. But you usually will not just play it out and just leave them on the board, because technically by playing on those spots, you're technically like reducing. Well, not really. If your opponent plays, well, anyway, let's just move on.
Why is the top group dead? It only has one eye. The other one is a false eye. To judge this correctly, you need to understand the concept of life and death. Being able to recognize false and proper eyes will put you in a good position. If players disagree about the status of a group, you should resume the game and play any moves necessary to capture the group in question. In a tournament setting,
yeah, in a dispute, essentially, like, best thing to do is just keep playing. All right, that's it. All right. Well, here, let me check out this thing that was linked. Oh, I saw this. This is funny. I think I saw this. Hold on. Let me
Dame Dane, Dame Yo, Dame Nano Yo, Antagasukaid, Suki Sugait, Dordeg, Tsuyoi, Osek Demo, Yugamani, Omoid, Gabakamate. Dame Dane.
Gabakamate. I think this is actually like a real, I think this is like an actual, this isn't just like a wait, let me see. I could have sworn this actually was like something someone said trying to be legit. Like it was for a video. And they didn't know Japanese and they were just like reading the lyrics or something. Cause that's the lyrics to Dame Dane, or well, Baka Mitai, that is. Dame Dane, Dame Yo, Dame Nano Yo. I should make a short and with Japanese pronunciations. I'll just read it like that. Dame Dane, Dame Yo, Dane Nano Yo, Anta ga Suki de. I'm pronouncing it too correctly. At work, me and my coworker are a bit odd, isn't it? In reference to Stranger Things being made in some kind of British studio. What is Stranger Things? That sounds familiar. Anyway, so that was the Go tutorial. I basically went through all of the tutorials on Just Go. So, no, you don't have to buy the game. Haha, no. I mean, yeah, like I said, there's plenty of ways to play Go online, and even this online OGS is using a free site to play on OGS. But this is still cool, honestly. Like, actually, this has a career mode, which this is probably one of the biggest like appeals for this client compared to like other clients, in my opinion, for like people that actually like play Go, is because you don't see like career modes in Go clients that often. Let me see. Oh, that was just my practice. So this is actually like a career where like they have you play against successively harder opponents, and it actually goes from like to like really high, like see like beginner 20Q to 1 Dan, 9K to 7 Dan, professional 1 Dan to 9P. Yeah, I hope people find Go interesting and try playing it sometime. I will play an actual game. But I wanted to go through the whole tutorial first, and I need to like refill my drink and stuff real quick. But then yeah, then I will play a game for you guys. Let's see, difficulty. All right, so like I think I can beat the 10Q bot fairly easily, and then I'll probably have trouble with 5Q, which is, so I'm somewhere between amateur and qualified. So I'm almost qualified, maybe. Experience is 2K. I'm not quite 2Q, I don't think. Proficient 1 Dan, semi-pro. This is how they're, yeah. Legend 9P, Grandmaster 6P, Professional 2P, Top Player 5D. What's my Go rank? It's been a long time since I've been ranked, cause I haven't really been playing much on like Go clients, and I've fallen out of practice and play. But last I played regularly, I was somewhere in the range of single-digit Q. I don't know exactly, like maybe in like the 8Q range, to give or take or so. I can beat the 10Q amateur bot on here without too much trouble, so take that as you will. But yeah, is there a way for me to delete this? Okay. Alright, well, let me... Yeah, honestly, the fact that there's a career mode and that it has like successive difficulties is actually pretty cool. Like, I think this game could actually, like, if you just like playing against the AI and learning at your own pace, like, I think this could actually do a decent job in introducing you to Go and giving you a gradually evolving experience with new people that are successfully difficult. Ah, so you're Raditz and I'm a 16K Piccolo. 16K Piccolo. Wait, you're 16Q or you're 16,000 power level Piccolo, which would be stronger than Raditz, because I think Raditz power was in the... Oh, okay. Okay. I think I overthought that like way too much. Like you were saying, so you're Raditz and I'm a 16K Piccolo. I was thinking like, wait, so Raditz had a power level of roughly around 8,000 or like less than 8,000, and then 16K would be very powerful compared to Raditz. They could grow Raditzes as Cybermen. That is, yeah, that's true. The Cybermen were each as powerful as Raditz. Anyway, here, give me like 2 minutes. I'm gonna go refill my drink real quick, and come back, and then we'll play an actual game. Oh wait, I don't have to mute that. Alright, sorry about that. Got a refill of my water bottle. Well, tea bottle, but Raditz was like 1200. What was Gohan's power level when Gohan was like freaking out? I remember it was like, was it in the thousands or was it still in the hundreds? Anyway, here, so I'm gonna go with amateur because I am a little bit better than 9Q, I think. So this is interesting to me because this says that if I actually take the career mode seriously, then I might actually be able to get up to like one dan or higher, possibly. Also, this music makes me think I'm gonna confess my childhood sweetheart, and I ain't knocking that. I like it. The music is like kind of emotional to me. All right. Let us put United States. No, 9x9, 13x13. Oh yeah, this is kind of cool. Like, it actually has the different associations. American, Chinese, Korea, Japan, and European. And also their stats. Domestic competition, low. International impact, low. Community maturity, low. Career prospect, medium. Domestic competition, high. International impact, medium. Community maturity, high. Career prospect, high. I think all of these are... No, Japan is medium. Career prospect. The Korea Baduk Association is high, high, medium, high. Because I think the Korean community is a little bit younger than like the Chinese association, but wait, it says founded in 1945, founded in 1962. Oh, so that was actually founded later. Damn, I stepped away because I thought you'd take a little longer. Oh, it's fine. Infant Gohan, when he got pissed and hit Raditz, went from 3 to 710. Ah, okay. And he hit Raditz with that, yeah. Hikaru no Go even had these Go politics. Chinese and Koreans look down on the Japanese Go players. Oh yeah, there's definitely like some amount of like Go politics and like yeah, Japan, I think like Japan is seen as the underdogs in the international circuit between like China, Japan, and Korea. I mean, you can just see that from like the domestic competition being only quote unquote medium. European Go Federation. Career prospect low. I'm actually surprised that there's like a medium career prospect in the American Go Association. Well, because I'm a weeb, let's go with the Japan Go Association. Yeah, this actually has like ability upgrades too. That's what I thought was funny. Like their Go abilities in the career mode. It's not like full on anime, like using your special attacks to blow up your opponent's stones or anything, but like there's it affects like how the AI plays, and you can also get like take back moves and stuff. See, there's calculation. You can use a certain number of AI recommended moves. Strong calculation will result in more accurate move selections. Mindset. Winning a tournament will increase the rank scores earned and boost your reputation. Big picture shows both players' territory a certain number of times. Higher level of big picture will provide current estimated score and chances of winning. It's kind of funny that's you have to like level that up to get that, because that's like a given on like a lot of Go clients and stuff. Like there should be like a button to calculate like the current territory on most Go clients, even in an active game. Do they have a cooldown? It's not like that kind of abilities. Calculation is you get to use a certain number of AI moves. Big picture is basically score estimation. Defensive strategy is taking back a certain number of moves and also losing less points in the ranking. Game sense is interesting. If a single move reduces your chances of winning by a certain amount, you will receive a hint. Your opponent's chances of making a bad move will increase. So game sense to me is kind of funny because it's basically like, oh, you made a shitty move, I'm gonna give you a hint now. Like, and also it can make your opponent literally play bad moves. I think that just tweaks their AI a little bit. So yeah, nothing like game breaking. Like the taking back a certain number of moves is probably what I'm gonna level up first, honestly. And then yeah, there's career mode. There's the feats, or I guess those are how you get skill points, huh? Schedule. Wait, no match today. So wait. Game 1 qualif. Oh, the games are on completely different days. I thought all three were on the same day. It'd be hilarious to ask the AI for a move and they just tell you to do a 3-3 invasion. just 3-3. Yes. All right, let's play a actual game. Japanese rules 6.5 point komi. I think nowadays it's actually 7.5. Hold on, let me. Oh no, under Chinese Ing and AGA rules, standard komi is 7.5. Japanese and Korean komi is 6.5. And New Zealand has different? New Zealand rules standard komi is 7 points. Oh yeah, to explain komi, so in Go, equally matched players, white gets compensation points for going second, essentially, to make up for the inherent disadvantage of being the second person to play. That the amount of points that is set in Japanese and Korean is 6.5 points, and in Chinese Ing AGA is 7.5. The reason of 0.5 is for tiebreakers. White wins ties essentially when they have 0.5 komi. New Zealand it says 7 points, so I'm assuming they allow for ties, so I don't know. 30-minute set time limit followed by 3 30-minute Byo-Yomi overtime periods. I'll explain Byo-Yomi when it comes up. Alright, so infinite board. Well, not exactly infinite, but let's just play on the 4-4. How about we'll start off with a regular Sanrensei. And then I'll approach the corner here. Let's see. Wait, how do I turn off the... I don't like that it's showing the numbers. Pass, resume, resign, restart, adjournment. Wait, can I go back to the game? Yes. Let's go with the last one move circle. Show territory, suggest moves, professional. Alright, let's go back to that game. AI will never beat the aesthetic opening. Wait. Oh, it doesn't actually save the game. I have to restart the game. Alright, well, let's try something different. I'll play an enclosure here, up, and then Shusaku's diagonal. I can totally play it. Fuck it, let's play it. Let's see. Sure. That's the other thing. Like, that's the reason why I end up, I end up, it actually kind of stresses me out to play Go sometimes because of my natural perfectionism. Like I can play blitz games pretty well, like pretty quickly. But like, you know, the more I have time to think about the moves, the more I like overthink things. Let's This is already like that's the other problem too. Like I'm good enough to know that I'm bad, that I'm pretty bad. Let's play here so we can. Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna cut those two. Let's play that. Okay. I'll connect. Alright, so, man, how do I explain? So basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to get a group here and also, like, kind of establish, have support here and, yeah, hold on, let's see. I don't like how that's turning out. Alright, so I'm gonna play elsewhere, I think. So right now, like, these are obviously fighting. This group is pretty safe because I have this stone firmly captured. This is pretty thick, nice white shape right here. For white, it's not good for me because that exerts a lot of influence going this way. So this could turn into territory if I'm not careful. Meanwhile, this doesn't, like, is getting conflicted by these stones. Although I might be able to kill these stones as well. So honestly, these stones might be dead. And then the opponent plays an empty triangle. Alright, this opponent is just bad. Let's see. Okay. This looks so jank, honestly. Let me think. Let's go there. I want to kill this group, but I really shouldn't. Let's just play elsewhere. We really should not be playing this much in this area. Let's see, and then I will right there. Where is the nuclear Tetsuji button? Just bought the game already? Thanks for showing it to me. Oh, I'm glad if people end up getting value out of this. I think I can... What? Okay. Let's play out there. Preventing this group from being captured. Okay, now I will play there. And this group is cut off now. I'm kind of decimating the opponent right now. I'm trying to see. Like honestly, if I was playing as white, I would have conceded by now. All right. Okay, let's play there. And here. Sorry I'm not explaining every move, but we'll be here forever if I explain every single move. Let's see. So now this, to give you a basic idea, like, this is dead, this is pretty much dead, these are dead, this is like in danger kind of because of these stones, this is okay, this is maybe okay, but like, yeah, like white is in really bad shape right now. Okay. And then the AI just makes a box for no reason. What the heck is this? Let me try to get close to finishing the game if the opponent is not going to concede. The thing is that, like, honestly, that there's too much of a disparity between the opponent's skill and my skill for this game. Let me determine what's actually... Let's see how much I can cut apart their group. I think they're gonna concede now. Yep. I won by 129 points. Yeah, the ratings can't possibly be properly calibrated to either Japanese or AGA ratings. No human would play like this. There's got to be a point higher up where they play a little smarter. Yeah, that is true. We'll see how high they get. Finish game win, no analysis, captures difficulty, board size. Where's the information? Yeah, essentially this board, like all of these, the only probably living groups, because with white playing so shittily, it's not even sure. The only living white groups on this whole board are like this group here and this group here. Well, this is in danger because of these two stones. These stones can be captured. I think if I play there, actually. No, that's still okay. You know, that one. I think white can reasonably turn this and this into territory. However, white is dead literally everywhere else on the board. Like, white doesn't have room to make two eyes here. Here, white's dead here, white's dead here and here. White just has a bunch of eye space here and a bunch of space here. Okay. Hold on, let me look at the... See, this shows you the estimated score. It started out about even, but then like it started tipping in my favor around here, and then even more in my favor as I started winning this, and then yeah, it just... This shows you the gradual progression of points, and yeah. Let's see, resume, restart. All right, we have skill points. You'll receive a hint. Let's level up defensive strategy. Oh, it says what the next upload or what the next upgrade does. If a certain move reduces your win rate by more than 35%, you will receive a hint. When winning a game, the score rank earned will be slightly increased. I'll get mindset and defense strategy. All right, let's try this. This is against 11 QSL. This is actually me playing Go for the first time against my Asian grandpa. At some point when it's fighting locally, usually the whole grand strategy theme seems to be lost on the 10k AI. Yeah. Oh man, the AI is doing the creative openings already. The 5-4 point. And okay. I'm just gonna play fast without thinking too much, cause I don't think I need to. Let's see. Okay. So I basically, right now, I've started off by having a little bit of an enclosure here, the 4 point for influence here, and then this is kind of... White's kind of getting a lot out of this, honestly. Well, I might be able to kill white. Oh. Let's see. Oh, well, actually, I just... wait. I'm pretty sure I played some really dumb moves there, but, hold on, what? Okay. Let's see. Oh, this might actually be... Let's sacrifice those stones. Oh, whoops. Now I'm messing up. Oh, shit. All right. Let's see. Let me think. This is not a ladder, but... F3... This is a net. Wait, were you wearing ghost stones on your hat this entire time? Yes, that is part of my design. Now I feel like I'm playing against like a... I don't know, this is not really resembling like a real game, honestly, at this point. It's just, let's see. So this shape is dead. If they had a stone, they need to play there and there to make an eye. Although, let me just seal that off so they can't. Just to be safe. I'm surprised the AI is still going. There you go. I was gonna say. We're gonna need another decade before AI can replicate 10K play. Yeah, that is the thing. Like, it is making a lot of like dumb mistakes that even 10Ks would make. The thing with AI is they're taught to win, not to play well. They don't give a damn as long as they win by 0.5 points. So when you scale them down, well, yeah, that is true. Let's see. Review the game. But yeah, see, it's basically the same thing ended up happening. Where did it? Then I went down. Yeah, because of that fight, and then... It actually predicted, like, it had a moment where White's win rate is spiked for a little bit and then went... Alright, well, let's at least try to do the qualification matches. This is against another 10K. And this will probably be my last game, and then I think I might end the stream in a little bit. So yeah, I'll play this one game, and then who knows? Maybe we'll have another Go stream sometime, and you guys can tell me about your Go adventures. All right, on the 5-4 point again. Let's just play. That's not great for... Let's go there. I'll pincer. Let's connect. Oh wait, that's not a connection. What can we do here? let's... Let's play... Surround this stone. Uh-oh. Let's see. This is not let's see. All right. Alright, this group is dead. I deserve that. Well, net. See, like, the AI is weak enough that I can just kind of play intuitively and mostly be fine. But my intuition is not even honestly that good. Okay. Notice these two stones are basically like these stones are basically trapped. So okay. Concede? Yep. Cause this was dead, this was dead, that was dead, that was dead. These were pretty close to dead. This is dead, this is dead. Like, is it Kumiko mercilessly murders low-level AI this stream? Essentially. Hey, welcome, Drain. Hey, Blue Mako, welcome. Nice to have you. They'll never expect me to make an empty triangle unprompted 10k AI. Yes. As you can see, this is how the estimated score went, as usual. So yeah, that's let's see. Where did I put So am I qualified now? Finals. Whoa. And this is against like... This is against a 6K, which is considerably higher. 1 out of 16 finals. So wait, is this like a 16-person tournament? I don't know. I think that honestly the career stuff is interesting, and it's like there's enough there that it would keep my interest enough to mess around with at times. So I don't know. I think it's cool. I'm probably, now that I've had the introductory Go stream, I'm probably gonna mess around with the career mode a little bit on my own, and then yeah, maybe we'll have another Go stream in some amount of days or weeks. I'm not sure exactly when. I'll talk with you guys, like I'll talk with my community and you guys about how things are with Go, if anyone's learning Go or anything like that, just to gauge interest in, like, if I were to have like a Go stream where I played against viewers, you know. I'd have to figure out how to set it up, but I could definitely play like simultaneous games against like multiple viewers at once on OGS. So that's probably what we would do. We would play on OGS, and OGS is free, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, sometime we might have a stream where I take on as all challengers at once. 100% down, fight me. Sure, absolutely. Although I don't know how good you are, so you might kick my ass. But hey, I should be able to play with you know, people that are relatively beginners, so and simultaneously, so I'll show up to another Go stream. Cool. Yeah, just the best way to find out if I'm having a new Go stream or another Go stream is, oh, that's not great. I try to I try to announce it at least a little bit in advance on my Twitter, or at least I'll be talking about it in probably my other streams. If I plans on doing a Go stream again, but I don't know. Yeah, I do kind of adapt my schedule on the fly sometimes. But if I have a future Go stream, I will definitely plan it at least like a week in advance, maybe. So people will have time to like learn and get set up and stuff. So yeah, I'll put up like an actual like in a waiting room and have it on Twitter and everything, and yeah. So yeah, just you should have advance warning if you follow my Twitter or go to my other streams. But in any case, I hope you guys enjoyed this look at Go. Go is one of my favorite games, and it is very meaningful for me. It has been a important game for me growing up over the years, and that is why I have the Go stones on my hat. Also has to do with the fact that I just love games in general. The fact that the crosscut signifies conflict, since it's 4 different groups and they're essentially in a fighting situation. And it's a lot of meaning all wrapped up in a simple symbol. that is easy to draw and is not used anywhere else. I'm a little surprised. I like when I was designing, to give you a little window into my design process. When I was designing my design back in the day, you know, about 2 years ago, I was deciding on the various aspects, and I went with the ghost stones because, yeah, just due to how important Go is to me, and growing up, and yeah, it's really fun. I hope you guys enjoy learning Go. If I was able to introduce anyone to the game newly, yeah, hope you enjoy. Hope we'll be able to play against each other sometime. Could only pay so much attention for various reasons. Interesting. Holding out for the Connect 4 stream. Thank you. I'm glad you guys enjoyed. And yeah, the if anything in the stream was unclear, or there's definitely like other there's definitely other tutorials and guides to learn Go online. So that'll go over basically the same stuff that went over in Just Go. So yeah, please learn Go and play against me. I'll meet you on the fields of battle. And if you already know how to play Go, well, I look forward to playing with you in the future. I'll just have to figure out the best time to do that. But yeah, I'll keep you posted. Anyway, that's it from me. I'm gonna sign off for now, cause it's getting close to dinner time, getting kind of hungry. And yeah, this was a good stream. We went almost 4 hours, so pretty good for a Go stream, I'd imagine. So yeah, thank you all for coming once again, and have a good rest of the morning, afternoon, and evening. I am streaming tonight. I think I'm streaming 2 Point Campus, so if you come back later, then yeah, I'll be streaming then. Anyway, thank you all, and have a good rest of the day. Bye!